Hello everybody, Fire Emblem here, and welcome to a new custom banner. Now, I'm assuming most people don't know what a custom banner is, since this is the first time I'm making a video on one, so let me explain. A custom banner is a fan-made Fire Emblem Heroes banner where I go over some units in Fire Emblem, or other series, and how they could work in Fire Emblem Heroes. I made custom banners for many years now, but this is the first time I'm making a video on one. I'm hoping everyone enjoys it. So, getting into the banner today, this time I have units from Fire Emblem Sacred Stones. Recently, I ended up beating my first run of Sacred Stones. I played it in the past once on a phone emulator, but Apple doesn't seem to like GBA for iOS and deleted my save progress. Though I bought it over the winter break on the Wii U eShop along with Fire Emblem 7, and I ended up playing the game for 4 days straight after getting pissed at Super Mario 64. I swear I'm a productive human being. Anyway, the units on this banner aren't really going to follow any theme. They're just some of my personal favorites out of the ones I used during my playthrough. Also, while making this banner, I focus on making new inheritable weapons for many of the units, while giving one personal skill to a unit. I'm not the absolute best when it comes to Heroes meta or anything like that, so don't expect any game-breaking units who are the best of the best, but I do hope you enjoy what I came up with. So let us start off with the banner. The first unit I'm going to show off today will be a Knight from Aeneas. They are... The first unit of this banner is Franz, the Faithful Knight. I'm not sure if I can really explain it, but I really enjoy Franz. He might very well be one of my favorite characters from Sacred Stones, so I really wanted to make him in Heroes since he's unfortunately not in the game yet. In his base game, Franz starts off as a Cavalier with decent speed and strength at about 7, and defense is a bit lower at 6. His HP is pretty good as well. His growth rates give him an 80% HP growth with a 40% strength growth, quite surprisingly, the same as Erica. He also has a 50% speed growth, with his defenses being lower at 25 and 20%. His lance rank is at D, with his sword rank being at E. In Heroes, Franz is a lance cavalry unit because of his higher weapon rank, a unit type that is pretty overdone in Heroes. Kinda what happens when there's so many cavaliers in the series, but yeah, it's kinda hard to stand on this field when there's so many heavy hitters out there who keep trying to outdo the last one, so why bother trying to compete with them? Fran's stats in Heroes are the following: 43 HP, 34 attack, 36 speed, 34 defense, and 21 res. He also has a defense super boon and attack super bane. His defense is much higher than it normally is in Sacred Stones, so his speed and attack are a bit lower when compared to those top tier lance cavs, which made his HP and defense a bit higher. Those HP and attack roasts were factored in when making his stats. He does still have a pretty high speed stat, but it's still not to the extent of many other heroes. His skills help separate him from other cavs too, giving him a more supportive role, starting right off with a new skill, Rush Lance Plus. Rush Lance Plus will grant allies within 2 spaces Heavy Blade 3, similar to Infantry Rush. I thought that because Heavy Blade 4 is now a thing, and that Infantry Rush is on Brady, a unit in the 3 to 4 star pool, that putting it on an inheritable weapon without the infantry restriction is probably fine, and will make for a nice weapon to help lower the special cooldown of allies. His new C skill continues to support with Joint Drive defense, rounding out the Joint Drives, and adds a +4 to allies defense along with the cooldown of Rush Lance, and also will help out Franz's own defense so it's even better in his own combat. His assist is Rally Attack Defense Plus, granting attack defense +6 to his allies, which works quite well with his B skill, Speed Defense Ruse 3, which lowers his foe's speed and defense by 5 and inflicts guard on them. So not only will his allies be getting an effective boost in combat of +11 attack, +10 defense, and +5 speed, but they also get a cooldown charge +1 per attack while their foe gets inflicted with cooldown charge of -1 per attack. Pretty nice deal if I say so myself. Moving on to our next unit though, we have someone who lost almost everything from a bandit attack on their village, and had nowhere to go until they met up with Erika's group. Hopefully you don't shed a tear for... the Tearful Archer, Nami. Naomi is normally seen as a weaker unit, but I really did want to use her in my playthrough so I could use a ranger. And before I realized Garrett could have been a ranger, but oh well, you know. She ended up being my Nidhogg user at the end of the game, and I had some fun using her even if she isn't the absolute best. In Sacred Stones, Naomi's high stat is her speed at 6, her strength at 4, and her defense being 3 and 2. Her HP is decent at 17. Her growths give her 60% speed growth, 45% strength growth, and a low 15% defense growth, and a bit better 35% resistance growth. Naomi's fast here with some bad defenses, but can deal some alright damage. So now we can translate this into heroes. Naomi's stats are 41 HP, 36 attack, 38 speed, 20 defense, and 27 res. She also has an attack super boon and a defense and res super bane. She's a green bow unit, and because of that and her with her stats, I jokingly like to call her a worse Shamir, at least stat-wise. But as like a friend of mine says, everyone's a worse Shamir. But as you can see, she's focused on her speed and attack, with her defenses being pretty meh. Now I'm going to be breaking the order that units are revealed in the banner, because Naomi is a demote of this banner. But she's a demote with some actual good fodder. First off is her bow, Hunter's Bow Plus. While the name is similar to a bow in Fates, no, it isn't effective against beasts. This bow is essentially Coral Bow Plus, in which it inflicts speed and defense -5 on foes in 2 spaces during combat. I figured that because its Tome counterpart, Lore Guide Plus, was on Loot, the demote of the Summer banner, it'd be great to get this bow into the regular summoning pool on a demote as well. Naomi's other skills are Luna for her special, attack speed 2 for her A skill, locked to 5 stars, and shield defense 3 at her B skill, which is locked to 4 stars. Shield defense is a pretty nice skill, and making it more easily available would be nice, and attack speed 2 could also have some more availability too, though I do think it would stay 5-star locked. Now for how these skills all work together, Naomi gets 38 attack and 40 speed with her A skill, 50 attack with her bow included. With Shield Defense 3 and Hunter's Bow Plus together, Naomi will get attack plus 12 and speed plus 5 during combat, giving her around 62 attack and 45 speed. While she might not make a crazy powerful unit like many today, as a demo unit, she can make for a pretty fine ally or fodder, whichever you choose for her. Our next unit of the banner is a Pegasus Knight from Frelia, who holds their duties, their country, and their prince above all else. They are... Vanessa, the dutiful rider. Did I make you sing it with Cyrene? Probably not, but anyway, man do I really enjoy using Vanessa so much. For the longest time I haven't used any Pegasus Knights in Fire Emblem, just not seeing a use in them. Recently I started to give them a shot, and I have been missing out. Kinda wish I didn't miss out using Marcia and Path to Radiance, but I digress. Let's get on to how Vanessa is in game. Vanessa is an early game Pegasus Knight in Sacred Stones. As the Pegasus Knight, she has high speed at 11, with her strength at 5. Her defense and resistance are 6 and 5 equally, and HP stat is 17. Her growths also resemble her bases, with a 6% speed growth and kinda low 35% strength growth, with a defense growth of 20% and resistance growth of 30%. The HP growth is also 50%. These are all pretty typical for a Pegasus Knight, I'd say. Now in Heroes, Vanessa is a Lance Flyer, and her stats are 39 HP, 35 attack, 39 speed, 23 defense, and 36 res. She also has a speed super boon with no super banes. The high speed makes sense for her 11 base speed and 60% speed growth, and her 35 attack, while kinda higher compared to her base speed and growth, is pretty alright for middle ground. Her res may also seem kinda high when compared to the Big Pros, but Pegasus Knights do usually have high res. For Vanessa's skills, we have another new inheritable lance in Swift Lance Plus. If the unit initiates combat, the unit is granted attack and speed plus 4 during combat and will inflict flash after combat, preventing foes counterattacks. This is a more upgraded version of Lofty Blossoms Plus. With the addition of flash, because I believe it should be on more weapons. Since the lance is 5-star locked, I could see it being made at least one day. For Vanessa's other skills, she has Iceberg for her special for high res stat, and her A skill is Swift Impact, granting speed plus 7 and res plus 10, and it keeps the foes from getting a follow-up attack during combat if she initiates. This synergizes well with her weapon too, and a little fun fact, I was literally in the middle of writing the script when Swift Impact was revealed for Faye. What luck there, huh? Her B skill is Sabotage Defense 3, a good way to potentially get some more attack during combat. Her C skill is Attack Speed Range 3, which will lower her foe's attack and speed by 4 in combat, making Vanessa faster and her defense res getting a little boost depending on the foe she fights. Putting it all together, when Vanessa initiates combat, she'll get Attack plus 4, Attack plus 7 and Sabotage Defense 3 when off, Speed plus 11, and either Defense plus 4 and Res plus 10 against physical foes, or Res plus 14 against magical foes. That's also an extra 23 to 25 damage when her special activates. Even in Heroes, flyers are pretty awesome. Moving on to the last unit in the banner now, we have a user of powerful magic on a mission to escort the Great Dragon. They're a little cold, but they do care about people. They are... Hailing from Kiera Helen, it's the Well of Wisdom, Salah. Yes, it's pronounced Salah. Ewan says so. Freaking Ewan, I'm so used to saying Salah. But anyways, Salah is someone I wasn't really actually intending on using. Though as I kept playing after his chapter introduction, I kept having open spots on my team. So he ran a full member for me, and I'm really glad I used him. He ended up being one of my favorites. In his game, Salah is recruited at 2 different points with slight differences in his stats. For the sake of this banner, I'm going to use his stats on Ephraim's route since they are slightly higher. He's a sage with high speed, magic, and resistance at 17, 15, and 14 respectively. His HP is pretty nice as well at 30, and his defense is the lowest at 9. His growths are a bit lower than others since he's already promoted, but his highest growth is 50% HP, followed by 40% speed growth, 30% magic growth, 35% resistance growth, and 30% defense growth. He's a very good pre-promote if you do want to use him, and his stats definitely show off what he's meant to do. For heroes, Salah is an infantry red tome, with his stats being 40 HP, 40 attack, 33 speed, 17 defense, and 36 res. He also has an attack super boon and an HP super bane. So first up, yeah, another red tome. I was working on this banner way before the red tome boom kinda happened, but the reason Salah is a red tome is because his highest rank is his anima rank at A, and he comes with an Hellfire tome. Honestly, he could be any other tome color in Heroes most likely, just for the banner though, he's gonna be red. Now for his stats, they're also pretty standard for mages with high attack and res, alright speed, and bad defense. The HP is pretty good. His stats are also very similar to Ewan, just better, which was intentional with Salah being Ewan's teacher and all. Salah's skills are up next, starting with his personal weapon, Tome of Alega. It accelerates Salah's special trigger, and if he's within 2 spaces of an ally, it inflicts attack, speed, res -5 on the foe during combat, as well as preventing the foe from performing a follow-up attack if Salah's HP is above 50%. His special is Glaciers. With the Tome of Alega, it has a cooldown of 3. His A skill is a new tier 4 skill, Speed Res Bond 4, which grants Salah Speed Res +7 when he's next to an ally and neutralizes his penalties in combat. His B skill is Special Spiral 3, which grants him cooldown count -2 after special activates. His C skill is Attack Res 03, which will grant Salah attack and res +5 at the start of the turn if he's next to an ally. Salah's kit wants him to be near his allies, with Speed and Res Bond 4 and Attack Res 03 granting their effects when next to his allies, and Tome of Lega being able to get its effect off well when he's near them. With his allies though, they should maybe have some way to lower his cooldown so he can get his special off in combat to keep up the special spiral activation, so he can proc his special in each run in combat, dealing almost 42 extra damage when it procs. God, I love Ignis and Glaciers on high defense and res units. Altogether, when he's near his allies, he will get attack +10, speed +12, and res +17 in combat, and can dare down his foes with high damaging special. He's a very experienced sage, so be careful for him. Our next unit is going to be our final one and the Grand Hero Battle of this banner. They're a traveler with the beautiful princess of peerless beauty and one of her most loyal followers, always willing to swing their axe for her. They are... Everyone, welcome to Steady Axe, Dozel. I love this dude so much. He is such a good lad. Effie Lads' mustaches are some of the best. I just knew I was going to want to use Dozel, and he was such a blast to use. I had him tearing up everything with Garm near the end of the game. He's one of my favorite units. In Sacred Stones, Dozel has some high HP, strength, and defense at 43, 16, and 11. He also has some decent speed at 9, with his lowest stat is his resistance at 6. Of course, not counting the other stats non-heroes, though at this point you probably realize I haven't been paying attention to those stats. His growths are around the same, 85% in HP, 50% in strength, 40% speed, 30% in defense, and 25% in resistance. Dozel's class of Berserkers also granted a critical boost in Sacred Stones, so he should get a lot of critical hits, which will be important. In Heroes, Dozel has an axe infantry and his stats are 48 HP, 40 attack, 34 speed, 36 defense, and 18 res. He doesn't have any super boons or super banes. These stats are how they should look: high HP, attack, defense, with alright speed and low res. There's not much more to say here, they're just pretty nice stats for a free unit. Now as for Dozel's skills, he's a free unit so they're not going to be anything insane. His weapon is a Slaying Axe Plus, since Dozel as a Berserker gets a lot of crits. His special is Bonfire, which has a cooldown of 2 with Slaying Axe Plus. His A skill is Attack Defense Solo 3, it's a 5-star skill and a decent boost to his attack defense. His B skill is Wrath, and it is his 4-star skill. Along with Slaying Axe Plus, this is a nice little way to reflect his critical hits. If Dozel gets everything off at the start of the turn, his cooldown will go from 2 to 1 when in combat by himself. He'll get Attack Defense plus 6, and when a special goes off, he'll deal an extra 28 damage. For a free unit, this isn't so bad, I think. Now along with the unit, we also have a Grand Hero Battle map. I would like to preface this by saying that I am in no ways a map designer or someone who knows how to balance a map like this, but I just thought that by making a map, it would be fun. Dozel's Grand Hero Battle is based on Creeping Darkness, Chapter 11 of Erica's route, where he and La Rochelle are recruited. Your units will start on the top left of the map, with Dozel being around the bottom of the map. He's followed with a Cavalry Staff user next to him, which represents La Rochelle, a Red Tom Infantry, an Axe Armor, a Blue Bow Cavalry, and on Lunatic and above, a Lance Cavalry. Aside from the Cavalry Staff, the other enemies don't have any references. Unlike the original map, his Grand Hero Battle has a breakable wall in front of Dozel to make it so your units won't have to run around the thin corridor. Overall, I do like this map and what I did with it. If you can beat the map, you'll get Dozel for yourself. Wahaha, your way into battle! And that was the banner! I very much hope you enjoyed this, as it took a lot of work to put together, especially with making a video with it for the first time ever. Sacred Stones, while it isn't my favorite game, it is an enjoyable experience that I think is the perfect game to get into the Fire Emblem series with. Or maybe it's a Fire Emblem game for someone to sit back and relax, since it doesn't take that much thinking to play. These units were fun to implement into Heroes, and with their new unique weapons and actually good inheritable skills, I hope they'd be worth some people's time to summon for, and maybe they'll like them more if they do. So tell me, who would you summon for on this banner? Is there anything you think I should have changed, or maybe there's a unit from Sacred Stones you'd like to see more? Please let me know. I would love to hear more where I can improve on and what everyone thinks. This has been Ruby Sapphire Emerald, signing off.